YouTube? It's Brian Phillips. Look what we've got here. This is totally new and exciting for us. This is a D460 from RadioLink. Okay, so as you can see, we got our RadioLink transmitter. This thing actually, believe it or not, I think is a 9-channel, it's an 8-channel transmitter. It's crazy, got tons of features. This thing has a pop-off prop saver equipped. It comes with a spare prop. Ours came with 2 batteries. There is a throttle cut on here. So as you can see, I'm moving the throttle. It's not gonna chop suey, but just be careful because that rocker switch could be bumped. And you don't wanna bump it and then cut yourself, okay? So we've got an 800 milliamp hour 2S, came with the charger. I'm gonna shut off throttle cut right now. Throttle cut is off. You hear it arm. Now it's off still. You pull this trigger all the way back, the throttle cut goes back on, okay? I'm in gyro stabilized mode, which should be in auto leveling right now. You can retrain the angle of attack by holding both sticks down and opposite one another, okay? But I'm gonna just go ahead and launch. About 50% throttle, give it a toss. There it is. Whoa. So this is gyro stabilized. So gyro stabilized meaning I thought it would be auto leveling, but evidently it's not. And I need just a little bit of trim on the elevator. Goodness gracious. It's actually pretty easy to fly, but it does not feel gyro stabilized. It feels like very nose heavy. It's flying pretty good. 50% throttle, super quiet, lots of power. Looks like a Stingray. Out of the throttle. Okay, into the throttle here. I'm gonna just see if I can float it. It's windy though. There's no rudder on this. I just realized, I just remembered. No rudder means you gotta actively fly it at times. Geez, that's a ton of trim. I finally got it flying almost flat. It's kind of fun to fly though. It's weird. And by the way, I'm not pushing it, folks. I'm at like 50% throttle. I was thinking I'd be kind of pushing it at this angle. Okay, I'm gonna actually land it. I'm gonna change the angle of attack, so I wanna land on this hill if I can get it down in time. Okay, so you can train the angle of attack. I trained it on my counter flat, so I wanna actually point this uphill more. And so I'm just there's a little bit of a hill here, so that should give us quite a few more degrees. So down and out. Okay, then this light changes. I'm gonna throttle cut, test, yep, we're safe. And you can see the prop saver worked. Camera crew's gonna hold this. See that? It just popped off a little bit. Once it's back on, you should be good to go. All right, so I changed the angle of attack, so we'll see if that worked. We'll wait for it to arm. And then we'll just give that a little bit of throttle. Okay, now I wanna see if it flies like this. Camera crew, I gotta go in front of you there. Okay. Because that should slow down the overall flight of the plane, but yeah, see, now it's going at that angle. So come back over here, please. It's actually quite easy to fly. Further. Thank you. About 30% throttle, just relatively tame. I keep trying to use the rudder, and yet there isn't a rudder. Okay, so I'm gonna try doing some high alpha-ishness. But without a rudder, it definitely does make it kind of weird to try to hold and maintain that position. But since you're at an angle, you sort of have a little bit of like sort of pseudo rudder control authority with those elevons going upside down. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, with those elevons going in an angle, you can actually sort of control it. That's pretty cool. Not quite as good as like the Ultrix, but it's definitely controllable. It's just, it's weird. Like it shouldn't be, but it kind of is. Inside pass here, if I can get it around properly. And by the way, it is windy right now, guys, make no mistake. Looks like a Stingray. I swear, when I saw this product online, I thought, it looks totally like a Stingray. And so I thought, I wonder how it flies. There's 100% throttle, darn near unlimited vertical. It's not a super fast plane. I don't expect it to be fast. I don't really want it to be fast. I actually wish there was a little bit less pitch on the prop so that I could get into the throttle and produce a little bit more airflow over the televons. But it's not bad. And honestly, I just feel like, why is it not auto leveling? Okay, I'm gonna go down to the stabilized mode. Okay, is that auto leveling then? Because it looks like it's auto leveling to me.
Yeah.
So what the heck, guys? I thought you called that gyro mode. So here we go. So now when I get off the sticks, it automatically levels. Okay, definitely at the angle of attack we set. Very, very easy to fly. So the middle mode is gonna be like your stabilized mode. Okay, now I'm gonna go to manual mode, which is all the way back. So this should have no stabilization. I don't know, it seemed pretty stabilized to me. This is with the trigger pulled all the way toward my belly. My belly. I don't know, seemed pretty straightforward to me. I just really want a rudder on this because I feel like even if I just had it mixed in to emulate some aileron control on the left stick, I would feel like I'm getting that control that I want. Okay, so now I'm gonna go down to the trigger pulled all the way to the bottom. Excuse me. Now we're back in auto leveling. Okay, now I was not in manual mode, guys. I was in the middle. Here's full manual mode. I just wonder how crazy it's gonna be. I don't know, it feels pretty normal to me.
Right, it doesn't seem too much different.
I don't know, hon. I honestly can't tell the difference here. Maybe it is a little bit more getting kicked around. The wind is relatively tame, a little bit more pitch sensitive and pitchy. Okay, going a few mistakes high now. Want to bring my Stingray all the way up there. Oh yeah. Oh, we get some beeping. Okay, going now to auto leveling. I'm just gonna show you this, guys. Bring it around, just kind of force it into a circle here. As you can see, the thing is just super easy to fly. When it's in auto leveling mode, pretty forgiving. I don't think this airframe is gonna hold up to a, like crash into the side of a wall. But the honest truth is when you're doing a regular landing with this thing, should be no problem because it's just got a very simple basic airframe, magnetically attached vertical stabilizer, and then that O-ring acts as a prop saver. So it should be super, super easy. Can't quite get to the high alpha here because of the speed and the amount of wind. Camera crew is gonna go to my right. Sorry, I'm gonna cut in front of the camera there, camera crew. I wanna try reteaching this a different angle of attack, okay?
Okay.
So let's go right on the side of the hill here, see if I can put it down right in the grass here. Boom. Okay, so we've got enough of a slope here. I wanna just go a little bit more extreme and see if I can get that thing to fly really slow. And that might be a super good way for you guys if you're trying to make it easy. Throttle cuts on and tested. You can see my prop, see, just magnetically attached. See, my prop popped off or tried to pop off. So I'm gonna put that back on by just slipping it over. Super easy. Now this is gonna be a pretty extreme angle. So we'll go down and out. And then it just learns. Okay, so it moved the aileron, so I trust it's going to work. Throttle cut is back off. Wait for the arming, stay there. Okay, it doesn't feel like it's going at that angle of attack we just trained it, does it?
It looks pretty flat.
Looks pretty flat to me. I wonder if it didn't learn. Or if it had some sort of a disagreement with my learning position.
Is there a point where it goes too far?
I wonder. Let's try it. Let's try it again. Out of the throttle. Boom. Okay. So you can stay right there.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do is basically fix my prop. I am going to put my throttle cut on. And I'm going to go pretty extreme this time. I'm going to see if I can hold it while doing it. Okay. That light shut off for a second, so I don't know if that'll work or not. I'm going to go back to throttle cut off. Okay, it's armed. Oh yeah, it got it that time.
Yeah.
I wonder if I just didn't hold long enough. But as you can see, you can really set the speed when you're in this all the way down mode. And that speed is going to change the angle of attack all the time during your flight. So that means you might need to feed in a little bit more power to just keep your forward movement. But it's really fun. I just feel like it could really use a rudder, folks, because a rudder would give you that high alpha control authority that I really want desperately on this plane. It's very fun to fly like this though. And since you're only flying basically with the one stick, especially in this auto leveling stabilized mode, they call it, it does a really good job of holding that position. Mm-hmm. Sorry about the sun. Let's go out to the middle, please. So now if you want to fly faster, then you can just feed in a little bit of elevator to kind of flatten out the approach of the airplane. And you can't flip it over in auto leveling mode. So, or stabilized mode as they call it, with the stick all the way down, this right trigger all the way down. So I'm gonna go back to the gyro mode, which is the middle. And there you'll see it just comes right out of that weird high alpha. And then you can fly it like a basic plane that's got a little bit of stabilizer on it. It's not especially difficult to fly, but it's just kind of a little bit wonk. I don't know, it's actually, it's not bad though. I just don't feel as locked in as I do with like the Ultrix. And it's so similar in flight performance. I feel like the Ultrix, because it's got the differential thrust, you get that yaw authority. And so when you get into these weird positions like this, you don't feel like you're gonna get left high and dry by gravity. And I mean, there's ample power to do just about whatever you want. It's just more a matter of what do you really wanna do? And I think for me, a plane like this, that's gonna fly like it's a Stingray, I really would love to have that yaw authority. It's so weird when you take away one primary control surface, even though the plane flies like it has a rudder, it just doesn't do that when you're in high alpha. That beeping means we're getting low. So I'm gonna go back to the auto leveling. You suppose I could try to catch it? I still wanna cut myself.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that hard, look at that. Pretty good considering. But you see what happens? Because you don't have the rudder, you don't have that opportunity to really control the way that it, like when it gets into this attitude, like you don't have unlimited amplitude of control to force it to go right versus left, right? You can kind of give it a little bit of a hint, but it still might go to the left instead of the right. Yeah. And for that reason, you might get caught. There's a lot of people that would try to catch that. And you probably could. I'm just not gonna be one of them today. So guys, RadioLink, it's actually pretty fun. I like it. It's not the best thing since sliced bread. It's definitely not gonna be, you know, your last or only plane, but it's definitely fun. And I mean, you can do crazy stuff with it if you want to, or you can just kind of put it in the regular mode and fly it around like a sort of an ordinary plane, if you will. That being said, the flight controller does a really nice job of kind of making an otherwise complex plane fly pretty good. Obviously, upside down performance is just about as good as right side up, but there is not a lot of difference in look. And so it might confuse the layman pilot because it's really kind of hard to tell the difference between the top and the bottom because the only thing different is really the rudder. And that rudder does like to blend in. It's a cool looking plane though. It's fun. And this beeping will increase in frequency, or it will get more intense as your battery gets ready to die. So I'm gonna bring it to our feet in the grass, and we're gonna land it. So guys, if you're wanting to support Brian Phillips RC and all the stuff we do RC on this channel, up to and including our unboxed build radio setup, which is gonna follow immediately this maiden flight, look no further than the links in the video description below. It's one of the best ways. Throttle hold is on. Oh, I just thought of something we didn't test.
What?
We've got this weird rocker. We've got this weird roller thing here. So I'm gonna come out of that. I'm gonna go back to stabilize, and I'm gonna turn this knob like all the way up and see if that changes the way that this flies. Okay, so I just, I've got this weird scrolly rolly. I'm gonna go all the way this way and see if anything changes, all the way this way, see if anything changes. I think it might be the tightness that it holds to the preferred position. And it might also be mostly in stabilized mode. See, because if I scroll this down, I don't feel any difference here, but I bet in the middle mode it will. Okay, so that's all the way up. Let's see if it feels like more locked in. Okay, now all the way down, I can't tell any different. I can't tell any different, honey.
I can't. It doesn't look any different.
It feels the same to me as a pilot too. Now, if that's doing something, we don't mean to pull any punches, folks, but there are certain times that we have features built into these planes and they just don't do anything.
And the PTZ mode was not very specific as to what we were looking for.
Yeah, because like we're not used to dealing with pizza mode. Yeah, so our camera overheated, sorry. The pizza mode, we don't know what that is.
No.
So if you guys figure out what that is, that's on channel 8. So when you change this, I assume it's amplitude of gain for stabilizer. But either way, pretty fun plane. It's definitely got a little bit of resilience to crash damage. Relatively easy to put the prop on, take the prop off. We show all that in the unbox build radio setup, which will follow this part of the video immediately. And definitely, I think it flies good. If you're into this sort of flying craft, you might want to get one from the links in the video description below. You'll help support Brian Phillips RC and what we do for the RC community, which is basically trying to bring the truth to basically a marketing and gimmicky whirlwind, which is the World Wide Web, because it's very easy to make a product like this look like the best thing since sliced bread. And really at the end of the day, it might not be. But you get to be the judge of it when it's Brian Phillips RC reviewing it, because we're going to try to show it in the real life, real world experience that we do here at our little aerodrome we're building. And by the way, we are really glad to be doing this for you, and we're really glad that you're here with us on Brian Phillips RC. So smash the like button if you enjoyed the video or if we helped answer some questions for you. If we didn't answer them, put it in the comments below. We'll do our best to get you answers there. And if not us, maybe somebody from the community will get you taken care of right away. Admittedly, I don't dig into the RadioLink transmitters. There's more setup you can do on these flight controllers. This little flight controller is accessible under here, which is pretty cool if you need to plug into it. I think there's actually a Bluetooth app or something like that. We've never done it. We don't care to waste our time on that, because the truth is, I think it flies pretty good out of box. If you want to try to fine tune it, you can do that too. But it's just not in my area of expertise, so I don't want to tell you something wrong. Fun plane. I think you guys will enjoy it if you're into this sort of Delta Wing, Televon sort of setup. Complaints, I would really like to see a rudder, and for the price point that these things are going for, there really needs to be some LEDs going on. For cool factor, I think it would really help. It'd give you that nighttime flight element, which is really fun, and also would open up the duration of the year where you can fly, because right now in the middle of summer in Iowa, we have, getting dark at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. We have long days. But come October and, December, when it's getting dark at 4:30 at night, it'd be really nice if you had something with a bunch of lights on, because you could really enjoy it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So something to consider, RadioLink, as you're looking into your next plans for models just like this. There are some LEDs on the flight controllers, receiver, but it's not really, meant for navigation lights.
Yeah.
So also the fact that it flies on 2S 800 milliamp hour batteries, which is pretty good. We got 2 of them in our kit. It's a good flight time. Flew for a long time, I felt like.
Yeah.
And it's not dead calm out there, but it's also not crazy. So you'd expect to have a reasonably good flight performance. The slower the plane, the more it's going to get agitated in the wind in most cases. But this thing seemed to do pretty good. So again, a rudder would really improve the flight circumstances, because this thing likes to fly in high alpha, or at least that's the way I like to fly it. Also, remember, and just so you can see inside here, down and out, wait for that green light to disappear over the link. Okay, there. So once that light disappears, you should be good. You can let go of the controls. 3 seconds is what they say in the manual. All right, that's all we got for you. Unbox is coming next. If you want to support us in ways not buying this plane, you can go to byme-db.com. You can search for a plethora of other planes. You can follow the links from those ones, or you can watch the videos and then follow a link after you decide you want something that you've seen there. Or you can do Super Thanks, which is YouTube, one-time donations, YouTube members, which is monthly support, Patreon, which is monthly support, or PayPal for one-time donations. And we only list those because people asked for years for us to do it. We finally did it, and people actually stepped up and did support us. So we really appreciate it. It's an honor to be supported by you guys on Brian Phillips RC YouTube. We love bringing you good content, and the truth is, whatever's coming in from the channel is going right back out the back door into things like the pond, literally out the back door. And we have been meeting with contractors on the damn gift shop. We have to overwinter with the dam. So the dam is going to settle, and you can't put concrete on a dam because we're building the road on the dam, which is going to be the dam runway. And we have to overwinter there, and then we have to get the pad done for the building so that it can overwinter as well. And we'll start construction on that really soon. Like, we're not just talking about this stuff, guys, we're really doing it. So if you like to see the progress and it's interesting to you, and obviously there's going to be peppered in planes like this all throughout the way, and planes like what you see, and helicopters like what you see, boats, cars, trucks, all that stuff. We love the RC experience. But I'm going to tell you what, my favorite RC experience is going to be fixed wing RC airplanes. And there are a million different sizes and shapes that you can pick from, and we're going to help you sort through the plethora of BS on the internet. So if you want to see people that say the fastest, bestest, cheapest, believe me, there's plenty of YouTubers that do it. They're going to tell you whatever they're reviewing is the best thing since sliced bread. We don't do that here on Brian Phillips RC. We want to give you the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And then you guys can make a good decision with your limited RC budgets, because at the end of the day, who wants to spend $400 on something that's lackluster? Or worse yet, $700 or $800 on something that crashes immediately because there's like a known conflict. We want to help you guys sort through that. So the marketing departments tell us what to say. We say, yeah, thanks for the input. And then we fly. And if it's any good, we tell you. And if it sucks, the big one, we tell you that too. Does this suck, the big one? Not really. It's kind of fun, actually. I like it. Is it everything to everybody? Probably not. To be honest with you, I tend to fly planes that are scale planes more often than not, as you can tell from around me and behind me and in the basement and in the shipping containers and soon to be the 60 by 80 building, also known as the damn gift shop. So truth is, I love planes. I love helis. I love VTOLs. I love little float planes. I love boats, all this stuff. It's really fun, but we're gonna help you sort through the unlimited choices right now, because there really are. And everybody wants to say they're the best, and they show these 3D renderings of all these perfect outcomes, and then you get them and things are broken. No big deal. We're gonna show you how to fix them right here on Brian Phillips RC. That's all you got for today. Stay tuned. Unbox is coming next. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this box right now. It's gonna be amazing. You never know what's coming right around the corner. Let's show you the phone now. Okay, what do we have here? RadioLink D460. It is a flying paper plate, as you can see. We're gonna see if this thing is any good. We saw this thing and I thought, is that really gonna be any fun? And I thought, honestly, if it's small enough, if I could fly it inside, that might be pretty sweet. But we're gonna see. And that's what we do at Brian Phillips RC. We unbox them, we radio set them up and do all those things to see if they're even worth having, and then you can save your cash if they suck bad. This one's ready to fly, T8S Mode 2, okay. Evidently they offer a couple of different finish levels. And so obviously on this, there's a plug and play, a ready to fly with a T1 or T16D, and then a ready to fly with the T8FB. I don't know what that is.
I think those are their different transmitters. Yeah, transmitter options.
They're definitely the different transmitters, because RadioLink, after all, is, makes transmitters. So, looks like so far packed in kind of like a foamy box. By the way, everything feels pretty sturdy in there. So a lot of times they try to send these out and they're supposed to be kind of like a travel case. But in our experience, some planes, travel case is okay, other planes, not so much. So far, so good. And then we don't find ourselves using the travel cases just because we got so many planes, like we don't have room for the boxes. But on a plane like this, it's kind of a weird size. It might actually work really nice. Okay, so we have a manual for the RadioLink and a manual for the plane. So the transmitter and the plane, okay? And there is a cutout that looks strangely like a transmitter. That's definitely not the transmitter. Okay, normally we don't do the money shot at the beginning, but looks like we're gonna do it on this one. That is super slick and weird.
Yeah, it's like really shiny.
Yeah, feels weird.
Oh, yeah.
It's like sturdy, but it's like they coated it in clear or something. Oh, we're missing one of these things. Oh. That's nice.
Oh, it's over, is it over there in the package?
It's right here. Maybe we need to China glue this quick so it can be setting up. Yeah, that definitely is not supposed to be missing. So that is a protector for the servo So we're gonna just China glue this right now. If you guys haven't watched much of our videos on Brian Phillips RC, we use China glue. China glue, you can get it from a bunch of different places. This one's from FMS. So if you order an FMS plane, order some China glue. We also use foam to foam, works really nice. I don't care where you get it, just get some, have it, because this is the type of thing you're gonna use a lot of when you're building modern planes like this. So just put it on there. When it's a small part like this, it's on a flat to flat surface. I usually just kind of let it sit there for a second. Transfer some of the goop, maybe even give it a little wiggle. This one feels like it's already kind of tacked up from the glue that was there. So it's kind of like reactivated, if you will.
Okay.
Usually you want to get that contact cement on both surfaces. And just so you guys know, this is the other brand variety, if you haven't heard us talk about it, foam to foam. So this would be like a Horizon hobby product. So if you're ordering Horizon planes, get some of this. It's relatively cheap. I think it's like 10, 12 bucks, but it's a bigger tube. It's about double the cost of this, but it's not quite double the product. I think these go for like $5 or $6.
Yeah, something like that.
Definitely get one or two of them when you're ordering if you're low, because it's the type of thing that will sit and it won't dry out on you. The Hobby King product mucilage, I used to get the big tubes, got a few of them. They're already cut when you get them. Like, you don't cut the tip. Those, you cut the tip yourself. So, well, foam to foam comes with a finished tip. You don't have to cut it.
Right.
But it's never been dry. It never dries out. I don't know how they do that. But the China glue from FMS,
you have to pierce
the tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So getting back to the point, we have servo. We have a flight controller somewhere in here. Big, huge, full length aileron sort of things. And then of course these vertical fins. Looks like a magnetically attached vertical stab. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, interesting.
So, we've noticed something about these RadioLink planes is that, first of all, we have an appreciation for different because we've seen a lot of the same stuff. Okay, so we've been doing this for so long. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with the same stuff, because sometimes people just want the same stuff. I do like that this is probably going to pack up nicely.
Yeah.
Feels like it's going to hold. Let's see how hard it can come out. But it's definitely magnetic, so just to demonstrate, we'll stick it on the fridge, see if it'll stick. And not quite there, but here, yeah, it'll stick there. So as you can see, it's got a pretty strong magnet in there. Bigger magnet up front, smaller magnet in the back. And so long as they didn't mount it backward. And then you guys might have noticed that when I was pressing on this, it popped the canopy hatch. So I'm gonna pull that all the way off to show you what it looks like inside. JST connector goes through the electronic speed control, looks like a 15 amp. And then this is a 2240 1600 kV brushless motor, so that's pretty sweet. And then of course this thing has a little plastic protective cover on it. I'm gonna peel that right off right now. Not really sure why they did that. Seems kind of strange to me. I'm not sure what all that says, but something to do with the lid. And we've got a flight controller here. Looks like there's probably some LEDs on this, is there? Kind of hard to tell. We'll find that out shortly, but JST connector, I like that. A lot of times these things come as ready to flies, and it kind of depends on how you get your finish level. So in our case, this is the D460, which speaks to the 460 millimeter size. And inside the bag, we've got a screwdriver. It's a Phillips tip, kind of a weird tip too, and there's a big bubble in that. That's weird. And then there's the hex drive on the back if you want to use it with a driver. I never do that. Then we have it's kind of a small ring. That's a prop saver, guys. Just a joke, folks, if you didn't get that. 70-35, so 70 millimeters by 35 millimeter pitch. And you want that to face you. This is a tractor, so it's gonna pull this way. It's gonna pull like a tractor would pull. And then this thing goes onto that side like that, okay? You hold the motor stator, and then you put the prop onto the little kind of clip point, and you just flip this around. It's a little tricky to do this. I've done this a number of times, but it's been a while since I've had to use a prop saver like this. But once you get it, it's pretty easy stuff. Yeah, that wasn't too bad at all. That seems a little bit too big, actually, if you ask me. But it comes with some spares, and it's got a spring-loaded knob, and then what the heck is that for?
They always done like fiber
tape. Oh,
tape.
it's tape, fiber reinforced tape. Okay, so that's nice. I guess in case you need to fix something or redo the hinge or something like that. Then also we have a USB cable. This is for programming the transmitter and or plane. How do we plug in here? I don't know if we have to plug in there. But if you do have to get in there, it's going to kind of suck because it looks like it's going to be challenging to get plugged into. I don't know if you actually have to plug in the receiver or the flight controller so much.
This says cable for upgrade or charge.
Oh, okay, fine. In that case, continuing on. So we got more stuff. That's the one thing about RadioLink, I gotta say, they make some complicated planes for an entry-level sort of experience, if you ask me. And they are hobby-grade planes, really, if you get right down to it. But we have had kind of mixed experiences with them. So we don't blow smoke like some of our competitive friends on YouTube that will say everything is the best thing. Like we don't care what you buy. We just want to show what exists in time and space. You can make your own decision as to whether or not you think it's got worth. This is kind of nice. It's got a little 2S LiPo charger. This is CM210. So it's got a regular outlet for a balance lead and then an inlet for a USB-C. 6 amp, good Lord.
Jeez.
That's pretty awesome. That's a nice cable. Man. USB-C to USB-A. So it's got to plug into a charge port. So we'll go ahead and, well, we got to keep digging. Oh, there's the batteries. So ours came with 2. It looks like they probably have an offering with 3 because there's 3 holes in there. So this looks like a 2S 800 milliamp hour with the JST. I kind of like this size because we have a couple other planes that might like this battery size. So let's go ahead and plug this in, get them charging. We were doing a review earlier, so we've got some batteries finishing up from the other day now. Of course, we can use this charger over here, and we'll show that, but we'll show you on the stock charger, the one that comes in the ready to fly. So we're plugging in our adapter. Our adapter is limited to a certain amount of charge current, by the way. You may have a bigger one, so it might go a little quicker. This has a singular light that indicates power and then an indication of voltage. So it's keyed through the balance charge. And then you can see there's 2 of what looks like 4 lights. That means 25% charge. So now, just to confirm that, I'm gonna use the XBC smart checker here. So plug this in, boom, like that. Whoops, did I plug that in wrong? Nope, I plugged it in right. So we can see what it is, 66%. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay. So did I say 25%? I meant 25% per light. So like 50, between 50 and 75%. My apologies, guys. And then there's also voltage alarms like this. If you don't have access to the XBC battery checker, you can use that. Which, by the way, you can also stick the JST in there. I'll show you that next. Okay, so it shows you 3.9. So this you can also plug in, and yep, it does work, but it's gonna freak out. See, look. It's a little overcharged because it thinks it's one cell.
Oh.
Okay? You guys see how that works? So I wouldn't recommend doing that. You may damage your little voltage alarm. These things are like a dime a dozen. I think you can get them for about $4 or $5.
Yeah.
And if you buy like a couple, 3 of them at a time, you can get them for about $10. Now, if you want to use a smart charger, like we have smart chargers, obviously the S155 is great, 1 channel, 55 watts. This is a 200 watt on each. It comes with the IC3, IC5, which is what we use for most of our smart technology stuff. But we also have a ton of non-smart batteries, and so we need a JST end. So we're gonna go ahead and plug this in, and that's gonna allow us to then, I don't know what that schmutz is on there, this little foam or something. Foam. It's China foam. Okay, so we'll plug that in. It populates with 7.9 volts as we saw in the XBC checker. Okay, so you can see your balances is showing here. I don't think I want to charge at 5.3 amps. I think this is what, 800 milliamp hours. So I'll just charge at 1S and 1C rather, and then we'll hit start. So a dumb battery, you have to set up a smart battery, you would just plug in and it would go, provided it's smart. But just remember guys, just as a quick refresher course, some of these new batteries that we're getting on the Spectrum side of things, like this 4S300, I think this one might've been for the Draco. It is not actually a smart battery. It just has branding that looks a lot like the smart batteries. So be mindful when ordering. And same thing here. This one was for the F86. Just be careful. Sometimes they look like they're smart and they're not smart. So don't think you need a smart charger for that. By the way, you can use a smart charger to charge dumb batteries, and you can many times charge a smart battery on a dumb charger if you're smarter than the manufacturer. But I'm not gonna tell you how to do it because I don't want to burn your house down. It's not that hard to do. Okay, spare prop savers, some Velcro. Okay, so it comes with all the stuff you need. Obviously, this is for the upgrade on the transmitter. That's our one charger going off from a totally unrelated project. So we'll stuff all this stuff back in there. We can discard this because we don't need it anymore. And then this is the charger settings. So if you could just go ahead and read all those steps.
Pack a lunch.
Show them that real quick. That's for the charger. Speaks to the light conditions of the charger. Okay. That's good enough. If you want to read it, you can pause it. Okay. Now, I am going to keep that with the charger because I have no idea what those lights mean, and I don't want to remember that crap.
Right.
So I'd prefer a human readable. That being said, if you continue, you can see there'd be normally a transmitter here if you ordered the bigger transmitter. And then this is the transmitter we got with ours. And it's a nice small size for somebody that's got small hands. It fits my hands actually pretty good. USB micro, not mini. Trim left, right, up, down, and so on and so forth. Simple sticks, simple gimbals. These do unscrew if you want to make them longer or shorter. Then channel 8 slider. Okay. Channel 6. Ooh, that's a trigger. 3 positions. 3 positions. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then this has to be charged as well. There's no way to get in there. It's got a 900 milliamp hour at 3.7 volts.
Oh.
So that means we do need this cable. So we're gonna go ahead and plug this in right now. I'm assuming it's probably got a certain amount of charge in it already, but we'll just demonstrate with the provided cable. Of course, we could press the power button and see if it turns on. It does. Let's hope this thing doesn't beep the whole time we're flying because that's super obnoxious. Speaking of super obnoxious, some of our competitors have a nasty reputation for saying fastest, bestest, cheapest, and that's why we say that's not what we do here. Not to take anything away from anybody in their hard work, because truth is hard work running a YouTube channel. This is full, so I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. This is an amazing charger for 1S. If you guys ever get any 1S aircraft, it's so much nicer than the provided chargers, and I will always say that no matter what comes with a ready to fly. If you guys are serious RC aviation guys and gals, you're gonna wanna have better chargers than what comes with the package offerings. But it is nice if you're buying it as a gift for somebody that doesn't have all the goodies. I like being able to say, hey, this is everything you need, okay? Yeah. But I like this because it shows all the different little 1S plugs. And we've got 2 of those and millions of batteries. I might be exaggerating slightly. All right, so that's everything in the package. It's all out of there. I really don't quite understand that. I think it was supposed to be under. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be under the plane. Yeah. But it's kind of, it's nice. It's very robust packaging. I like that.
It would fit back in there.
It would definitely fit back in there. My only fear is it's going to fit back in there because it sucks.
Well, hopefully not that.
And if that's the case, we will tell you, because here on Brian Phillips RC, we are not owned by any manufacturer, even though we work with a lot of them. And we find a lot of manufacturers do a lot of good things. And some of them don't do everything as good as we'd like. We'll try to share that as we review the planes, okay? So this one is no exception. We want you guys to get the most bang for your buck, but then also with the understanding that some planes are not gonna give you the same bang for the buck. We want you to know what level the bang is gonna be. 4th of July, happy 4th of July week, okay? So you get some hand launch holes here. You actually technically have some hand launch holes here too, but I think they're talking about pulling off this canopy. Okay, so because this is a 2S power system, obviously we'll let those batteries charge and then we can go ahead and fly this. But while we're waiting for it to be ready to fly, we can show you in this manual real quick. This is the instruction manual. Camera crew is gonna fold through that real quick. And if you guys wanna help support Brian Phillips RC, all you need to do is look no further than the links in the video description below. The links in the video description below will allow you to buy the products that we review, whether it's this or another item that we've done in the past. We have done millions of products, it feels like, but really, we have literally thousands of videos. We'll keep your whistle wet. And if you haven't found what you're looking for, go to brianphillipsrc.com and you can see what you wanna see. I'm actually gonna change this charge rate, hon.
Okay.
I'm gonna go up to probably 3C, so 2400 milliamp hours or 2.4 amps. So, and we'll see if it catches on fire and blows up.
Okay, so one thing to note, that channel 5 rocker switch is your flight modes. So stabilized, gyro in the center, and manual mode.
I did notice that it was kind of rocky, so you'll want to be careful about that.
So
this one?
Yep.
So right there, here, or here.
Yes. Okay, so in the like up towards you mode is manual.
Okay.
Gyro is the center.
Okay.
And then stabilized would be like if you click it
Okay, so
down.
listen guys, when you rock it all the way forward, like you're pulling the trigger on the gun.
Yep.
Okay, that would be normal stabilized. So you have a stabilizer that helps, but when you can fly in any orientation, upside down, all that stuff. The middle is going to be where you start launching because it's going to automatically level the plane. And then all the way up here is going to be all bets are off. It does what you tell it. And there is no flight controller giving its input.
Right.
Okay. I think gyro confuses people because a gyro, does not necessarily articulate the difference between a stabilizer and auto leveling. I prefer the terminology of auto leveling.
Yep.
As opposed to gyro. But gyro is technically what a lot of these manufacturers use to call out auto leveling. Okay. The other thing too is there's such a thing as heading hold, where a plane or helicopter or aircraft of any type, whether it's a drone or whatever, it will hold the heading that it's going, even if the heading is not straight, okay? So people will use that to do different tricks and they help, and that would fall into the gyro category without being auto leveling. Okay. So there is kind of a difference in the terminology.
So channel 6 is a camera shutter button. So if you have this hooked up to FPV or something somehow. Channel 7 is a motor safety lock switch. So I wonder if that's actually like a throttle cut.
It's throttle cut.
Yep.
Which one?
Channel 7. So it'd be opposite of 5, that back rocker.
So it's on the wrong side from what we're used to.
Yeah.
And it's a 3-position switch.
I mean, I don't know if it actually is 3-position. It just says motor safety lock switch.
Note to self, if
China.
you're designing an airplane and you want to make a fail-safe safety control, you might want to think about where you put it so that it mimics all aircraft.
But does everybody else do their, I mean, you do yours on switch
My
H.
throttle cut is always on the right top side from every manufacturer we've ever had. This is one of the first times I've seen it on the left.
Okay.
Guys, pay attention to what your competitors are doing and copy it.
Then H says knob, or channel 8, knob switch PTZ adjustment. That's that slider, but I don't know what that means.
PTZ?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pizza adjustment.
Pizza, yes.
I don't know.
It's obviously the amount of sausage.
Oh, here, channel 7. Motor unlocked, motor motor locked.
So which way is locked?
Oh, I hate, this is a dumb diagram.
They show a drawing that's super ambiguous. Okay, let me look at it.
So center is unlocked.
I'm charging, guys. That's why I'm making her come to me. Motor unlocked. Well, you can see this is down is unlocked. Center is locked.
No, center's unlocked.
Center's unlocked.
Up.
So this is on. Now, also, case in point, if you want a throttle hold or a throttle cut, throttle hold for helicopters has to do with the motor and not the pitch, okay? So if you turn on throttle hold on a helicopter, technically you can still auto gyro down, okay? But you kill the motor input so that you're less likely to like chop your hand off, okay? But in this case, throttle cut on an airplane stops the motor and there's no pitch control, so it's not an issue. Okay, by the way, this battery is done charging. It didn't catch on fire, it didn't puff, as you can see. I'm just feeling it to see if it's hot, it doesn't feel hot. And we have a good 4.2 volt outcome. Okay, so we're gonna pop this off of the charger. And just for the sake of our evaluations here, let's go ahead and show if this charger's working. It's at 4 bars, it's the fourth that's flashing. So it's between 75 and 100%. So let's go ahead and jump over here where we got better visibility and show the people at home. Plugging in just the balance, we're at 4.10 volts. And that would make sense. So I'm gonna plug this in. I'm gonna go ahead and just for kicks, we'll start it at 2.4 amps to see if we have any fireballs.
Okay.
All right, so did we answer your question on throttle cut? Throttle cut is technically here, folks. So this is locked.
Yes.
Okay, this is unlocked. I always prefer to have a throttle cut in a spot where it's the least likely to get bumped but there is only so much you can do. Really, ultimately, controlling your left stick, if you're mode 2 like me, is gonna give you the most control of your aircraft. You have to really get in the habit of assuming there's no throttle cut and acting like there is no throttle cut, and then occasionally, and we get this all the time with ready to flies, I'll catch myself doing something and the throttle comes on because I'll bump it on my body, or I'll lay down the controller, or some such thing like that. Okay, so without further ado, let's see how this thing initiates. By the way, I just want to talk about fit and finish right now. There's a lot of bubbling on this, and then these little reliefs under the water decals that they chose to use on here, I think it's like one big clear thing they must have laid. I wonder if it's a water decal where they just like float the decal and then they take the foam and they just like pick it up into it and then just let it sit and dry.
Maybe.
It's really nicely applied, but I gotta say, they did a good job of covering these things, but there's a lot of them. Those little releases. We've seen those have disappeared largely on many of our ultra detailed models. Also, this was broke, it's been re-glued, it seems to be nice and secure. All that's gonna do is if you hit the ground, it's gonna stop from hopefully breaking the servo linkage. I don't think you're gonna probably break your linkage, it's gonna be belly landing. But I'm not gonna belly land this on concrete unless I accidentally do it. I'll try to land it in grass. But I'm hoping it's a really, really, really good flying thing and I can just like float it over and just like catch it or something. That'd be really cool. But keep in mind, it's a tractor prop, so you don't wanna get cut. All right, so in order to start this, the other thing is you gotta remember this thing could spin. If it could spin, then I wanna keep it so that it's not gonna hit the counter and cause like the motor to lock up and start a fire or something crazy. Pull the lid off, magnetically attached, by the way. We showed this earlier on the other part, so I suppose I should probably try to do this too. So it definitely sticks, that's pretty cool. It's a weird looking plane, guys. I don't know if you're into that sort of thing, but every once in a while it's fun to see. Okay, so power's on. Hypothetically, the throttle hold is on. This must be the gains or something.
I don't know.
Pizza
Whatever.
ordering.
Yep.
And I'm probably not even gonna put a voltage alarm in there because I'm pretty sure they got an annoying feedback circuit in here. Okay, so I'm laying that down. I've just got my hand out of the way until I can trust the plane. We're gonna plug this in. Guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, we love that you're here with us watching our content. We try our best to bring you consistent content that's gonna give you answers to your questions without puffing up products that aren't worth puffing. And at the same time, we do have preferences. We acknowledge that. And also I have limitations as a pilot because I'm not perfect. And so do you and most people. Look, that does come out.
It does.
I'm glad I bumped that. Oh, nice. There you go. Cool. Gyro phase. byme-db. It's the same thing they have in all their little... And I gotta say, they definitely have a flight controller that's doing a lot of stuff. So I don't mean to poo-poo anything about this product other than the fact that it is definitely a little bit different looking. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna pause and come right back. Sorry, I had to sneeze, but also the charger just finished. If you guys have one of these S2200s, really popular, 200 watts is a lot of wattage. When this thing gets done charging, you're gonna notice it sounds like the Facebook data center over here. You hear that? The cooling fan? When you hear that, what's happening is it's going through a balancing phase. And so it's trying to balance the stuff. So the way it balances is it discharges the voltage from individual cells. So as soon as you disconnect that, it's gonna stop. You'll hear that fan shut down. So if you ever hear that obnoxious fan, you can shut off the charger, but I like to unload the circuit before I do that. Just because I don't want to waste the voltage on this. Also, back in the days, if you remember this, if you've been flying long enough with balance leads and stuff, you used to have a balancer you would plug into this and it would balance the circuit for you. And that was happening simultaneous to actually charging through a charger that would just like pump voltage in at a certain current rate. Well, nowadays we have a balance charger that is part of the charging circuit and it makes the decisions based on the charge level of this cell and this cell. So there's two cells here in series, hence 2S. If you're not familiar with battery technology, this is 800 milliamps, there's two of them and they're sandwiched together and taped together with like this little tape, and then they put a little heat shrink around it and then they print the information on there. Then they have the main discharge, which is in parallel to this black and white one, because this is a 2S pack. So this is exactly the same as that, except it's a smaller wire. This is exactly the same as that, electrically speaking. And then in the middle, this is one cell, the positive and negative. So then this positive becomes the negative of this cell, okay? So you can actually measure the voltage of each cell separately. The same is true as you stack and get bigger and bigger. Like this happens to be a 4 cell. So you've got like the most positive, then you got the first negative, or you've got the most negative and you've got the first positive, and then the second one here, and then the third one here, and then the fourth one here. So like if you took a digital multimeter and you tested between these 2 points, you would see what the voltage is of that cell. Well, on this one, since it's a smart battery, it's got a battery management, circuit on it. It's got a smart circuit, smart chip that's going to keep the cells balanced. Now this one's seen better days. You can see a little puffed up. That's because the particular planes that powers, I have beat the heck out of it with. Okay, but case in point, another dumb pack, but still 2S. You can see it's exactly the same setup. Just happens to be a little bit different colors here and there. But these leads, the red is parallel to that red, and this is parallel to that. Okay, so just like this little one. The difference is this is 5,200 milliamp hours, and this is 800 milliamp hours, right? So as you get back into this hobby, if you're new to the hobby and you're getting this as a beginner plane, I don't know if that'd be a good idea. But the truth is, if you don't know about battery technology, start learning. You learn a little bit at a time. Next thing you know, you actually know what you're talking about, which is nice. Because when I started back into the hobby, it had been so many years since I had touched or seen any sort of radio controlled airplane. And I mean, as a kid, we had these like ready to fly planes. They were terrible. And you would have had to have been a really good pilot to fly them. There was no help. There was hardly any gyros. There wasn't anything going on. You pretty much, they just tried to design it so it was like heavy on the bottom and had like a dihedral. You still couldn't fly them, okay? These things are a far cry from what we had growing up. I would kill for something like this as a kid. But now I'm hoping it's really good now that I said those nice things about it, okay? It could still suck. All right, so elevator. Okay, so you see, this is called a televon configuration or a televator. Okay, and then when you move the stick to the left, it's gonna roll it to the left. To the right, it's gonna roll. It's gonna elevator, and ailerons. Okay, so televon, right? Sometimes we call it like a V-tail, but it's actually not a V-tail because a V-tail would speak to just the tail in a V configuration. So you'd have the elevator, and that's it. And they just work together, right? And then when you roll the aircraft, the ailerons up front on the airplane would roll. Okay, so like on a Bonanza. Okay, so in this case, there is no rudder. Okay, see, nothing happens when I move the yaw control axis. But just be careful because I want to see if the throttle works. The throttle is not working good. So that means that our throttle cut actually works. Now I'm going to rock this with my mouth. It just armed. Lots of power, guys. I'm unrocking it and testing it. So throttle cut is on. I can trust it for a minute. So good job, RadioLink, giving us a throttle cut. Okay, throttle cut is a huge safety feature. I just don't like where you put it. And also you have to step over another control to get to it. I don't like that either. I also don't like the fact that you can bump it, but technically you can bump any switch anywhere. So just keep that in mind. All right, so 800 milliamps, we got ours with 2. You might be able to get them with 3, you might be able to get them with 1, and you might be able to get them with 0. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna check the link in the video description below. You'll follow it and you can see the different finish levels that you can order this RadioLink D460 from, and you can see if you like it. All right, so hopefully our flight video answered all your questions about the flight performance of this aircraft and our unbox build radio setup, help you to understand how this thing might work. Now, keep in mind, you can also set up an attitude calibration on this, and I remember that from the last one. Also, you can hook up to a computer, or is this one through Bluetooth?
No, I think you have to hook this one up. There's a app and stuff that you have to go to.
Okay. But yeah, you can go in and change all sorts of gains and stuff like that. I'm not messing with any of that crap. If you guys want to, you're welcome to do it. It will help you to tune this aircraft if you don't like the way that it flies out of box. But here's my predisposition on that. This is ready to fly. It comes bound up, ready to go. You don't have to bind this transmitter to this receiver, which is a process where you teach this receiver to talk to this transmitter versus another transmitter that came out of the same box. So say you ordered 3 of these, one for you, one for your oldest son, and one for your oldest daughter or whatever. And you wanted to fly together. Well, you open them out of the box, they're ready to go. You can turn them all on at the same time and they will uniquely connect to each other, right? Mm-hmm. So that's binding. You can find in here how to rebind. It is actually a pretty well-written manual, okay? And you can look at all the phase stuff. Did you show this? This is how you do the, by the way, see this?
To do the attitude calibration.
Yeah. So the attitude calibration is like this, right? So if you want it to fly like this, so it flies a little slower, what you can do is you can take your plane, you can set it on a shelf or on an edge or something like this. And might have to get a little bit creative on this one because it wants to slip. I hope the prop doesn't start spinning. Okay, so down and out. This is one thing that I wanted to show you guys. So down and out, watch this. Okay. So I think it chirped at me, so that tells me it's gonna try to find that level position, okay? But I might not even be in auto leveling because there's 3 modes, okay? The beginner mode's the center, all right?
No, so, the beginner is the gyro, and then, see, this is why we write on them. Go back 1 page.
I'm reading something right now. Okay, so basically you just do it for 3 seconds, and then there's a light that turns on. The problem is the light is inside, so you're not gonna necessarily see that. So if you have this lid off, you might be able to see. Say I wanna learn a different attitude, so like that was too steep for my flight taste. There's supposed to be a green light that flashes, and I don't know if it's this one or if it's another one, but you can see that stopped. See it shut off, and then it goes back, I guess. So we read these manuals and they teach us a little bit, but we've learned that probably the most fun thing to do is just go out there and throw caution to the wind on a few of these planes. But this plane and every other RadioLink that we've done has a lot of features that you can tap into if you really want to get into it. And so the camera crew was going to show you one other thing she was talking about when I was trying to read that.
So manual is up towards you, gyro is center, and then stabilized is triggered down.
Which I'm already in the right mode.
Okay.
So I'm in the center. All right, guys, so hopefully we answered your questions. If we didn't answer your questions, you can check out our links in the video description, and you should be able to then find the entire manual for these aircraft from the links. That's generally true for almost any product we do. If the manual is garbage there, you're gonna know that you're gonna have to find it yourself or find it on some video. In our case, we wanna fly it, see if it's worth the investigation before we spend too much time on it. RadioLink historically has had, you know, some pretty cool planes, but they're also expensive, so we're not sure how we feel about them yet. Everybody's got different budgets, so we don't want to tell you that something's too expensive. We don't want to tell you something's too cheap, but there's kind of like that general feel like, it seems a little expensive. We've noticed that the RadioLink stuff seems pretty expensive, but it does seem to have a lot of value, and it's one of the few ready to flies that you open up and you have everything you need. You don't need any batteries in here. It comes with a rechargeable battery built in. That's a huge factor for many of you. And secondly, they are truly ready to fly, which is pretty cool. So I like that. We didn't have to do much building. We just had to put this on. The only thing we had to glue was a component that kind of broke off in shipping. So whatever, I guess you got that. It would have still flown with that thing broke off. I'm disappointed, but not a big deal. Okay. All right. So we hopefully answered all your questions. Let us know in the comments below if we didn't. Let us know if you have had the D460 and if you enjoyed it. We'll hopefully have a dialogue there. And if we don't get back to your question right away, give us time. It's really hard to keep up with all the questions, but we have a huge community of other viewers here on Brian Phillips RC that might be able to chime in and answer some of your technical questions if you ask, and I haven't gotten to you yet. Also, in terms of RadioLink transmitters, they definitely make a lot of value in their transmitters for a small package. But I'm going to tell you something, guys. This is an OBS from Brian Phillips RC because that's what we do here on Brian Phillips RC. I love Spectrum transmitters. I love Airware. I'm used to it. That's what I know. And so for me to learn an entire new system for a ready-to-fly Strangity like this is just not going to happen. Now, I know some of you guys have adopted some other brands, and we know that they exist, and we aren't in a vacuum. We do understand that some of you are using RadioLink for some of your transmitter needs, and that's fine. We don't mean to poo-poo what they do because they do a lot of really nice things, but that gets us into this weird gray area where we're like, is the average beginner going to be able to handle that? In my opinion is no, because we have a hard time teaching people Airware, which is very simple. So to encourage somebody that's a first time pilot to jump into something like this and then go in and tune things, they're not going to understand enough about the jargon or technology to be able to navigate the waters of setting up a transmitter. So that's part of the reason why we recommend getting the ready to flies when you're brand new, if you just want something to get your whistle wet. And that's why we suggest something like this for a very beginner pilot. And when I say very beginner, I mean like a newer pilot, not like a brand new first time plane necessarily. Again, that's not to take anything away from the quality, build, manufacturing, or shipping, or any of that stuff from RadioLink. If this thing's terrible, we'll let you know that in the flight. By the way, if you noticed, you're seeing this second part of the video, it's in reverse order for us. We don't know how this thing's gonna perform yet, but we assume it's gonna perform at least moderately good. Seems like it's well built. Seems like it's probably gonna be pretty fast. I was hoping it might be an indoor sort of thing, not looking very indoor to me. That's a big prop for an indoor flight. Yeah. Unless you can set the attitude really steep and you can get it to stop without like damaging the TV or hitting another plane or something like that, it's probably not gonna work the way I was hoping. But maybe a gymnasium, not sure. We're gonna find out in minutes. But that's part of the reason why you watch Brian Phillips RC. We're gonna learn the hard way so that you don't have to. If you got some video of value from this video, don't forget to smash the like button and click the bell for notifications when you do subscribe so you can hear about our new content. We got 2 of them coming out usually most weeks, sometimes 3, sometimes 5, just depends on the week. And so we hope you guys will be back for the footage that's right around the corner. It's literally sitting in boxes, getting ready to unbox, build radio setup. And if you haven't connected the dots on some of these smaller products, we do a single video where we show the unbox at the second half and we do the flights at the beginning. But if it was a more sophisticated or bigger plane like the Cessna 182 down here, or this airplane here, this F7F, which is beautiful by the way, we'll do an unbox build radio setup and then we'll do the flights that actually release right before the unbox build radio setup, or vice versa, so that you guys can get what you want when you want to see it. But just keep in mind, if you're looking for a plane that's like a ready to fly or a helicopter that's like a simpler helicopter, you can usually find that all in the title. We'll say unbox build radio setup and maidens, because we do maiden flights and then we do unbox build radio setup separate on more advanced or more sophisticated plug and fly and bind and fly planes. Hopefully that answers all your questions. If it's something you want and you didn't see it in this video, look no further than brianphillipsrc.com. That's our website, and you can find all sorts of other content that we've made in the past. It's available right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to pay any fees, nothing like that. You just go over there and you can check it out. If you want to find something similar to this, which there's admittedly not very many like this, probably the erratics would be the closest I'm thinking of. Probably. The Delta Ray from years ago, maybe. There was an erratics UMX and then an erratics bigger one, right?
Well, that's kind of, no, the Ultrix.
Ultrix, yeah, the Ultrix would be super similar. Well, that's twin, right? Yes, it's twin. So anyway, guys, if you're looking for that, all you have to do is go and sort by type or manufacturer. And if you know the manufacturer, you can find it pretty easy. If you know the type, you can find it pretty easy. But you can also just peruse and find what you want. It's gonna have the thumbnail that leads you back to YouTube where the playlists are. And if we had multiple videos for a particular plane, then you will see them in a row. Sometimes there's a lot of videos for a particular plane, but a lot of times it's just the 1 or the 2, okay? Hopefully we answered all your questions there about the channel and how to navigate the waters. You can also search on YouTube through playlists. Now, if you want to support us in ways that don't include buying a particular plane, because buying from the links is the best way to support us, as we support the manufacturers trying to sell to you, as we support you, as we bring you the truth that the marketing departments at the same manufacturers don't want to tell you, which is kind of weird. But anyway, we can keep that little ecosystem going by buying from the links, because then they think we're helping to drive sales, okay? Well, the truth is, if things suck, we don't want to drive sales to that. We just want you guys to get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth here. So help us God. I'm Brian Phillips RC, because at the end of the day, any marketing company can come up with garbage marketing. It's not that hard to make a video where you make a garbage plane look good. But that's not what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We show it exactly as we experienced it. Sometimes we have a good experience and others don't. Sometimes we have a bad experience and others do have a good experience. But the truth is, I'm a pretty average pilot. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay? I'm not one of these sponsored pilots flying 100 miles an hour upside down between my legs. I would probably have no kids after that. So, hopefully we answered all your questions. Hopefully you guys got what you needed out of this video. If you don't want to support us by buying this particular plane or another plane that you found, then don't forget you can get chargers, glues, transmitters, all that stuff Or you can support us with PayPal one-time donations, Patreon monthly support, YouTube. Super thanks for one-time donations and YouTube members. Special thanks to our members on YouTube for being members, and special thanks to our Patreon members for being members there. That does give you a little bit better access to me for comments because I have such a small pool of people over here that I can see the comments come through. Other than that, that's all we got for you. Hopefully we answered all your questions, and we appreciate you being here with us for this RadioLink D460. Ready to fly the way we got it with 2 batteries. Pretty exciting stuff. All right, stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC right around the corner. Hope you'll come back for more.